Enjoy the ride. In crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, 815.
I think we already have known this one, Tom, but in case you're not following along, if birds all decided it was just really fun to poop on humans, there really wouldn't be much we could do about it. I'm Greg, he's Tom. It's your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 16th day of August, the year 2025, the latest it has ever been.
In the history of mankind, first and foremost, I would get really good at the art of killing two birds with one stone. That would eliminate them right away.
Mm-hmm.
That would
be a good plan right there. We've got a great show for you, and the person probably still sleeping next to you. So if you want to watch live, give them a little nudge and say, hey, Tom and Greg are talking. It's time to listen in. If they're really snoring up a storm and really sleeping well, let them sleep. You can watch it on Spotify later. Just share the link, and we would appreciate that very, very much. It's a special day today, Tom.
Is it? Every day is a special day.
There are some awesome... It's an awesome birthday day today. You know, Catwoman from the original classic Batman TV series is 92 today.
That would be Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar. I knew you would know that. Good job. The actress who played Victoria is 79 today. Do you know that one? I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know.
Victoria. You said actress, right?
Actress who played Victoria.
Julie Andrews.
She's 79. Her name was Leslie Ann Warren. Okay. Frank Gifford's lovely wife is 72.
Kathy Lee Gifford.
72 today. The director of Titanic and Avatar and a bunch of other great movies is 71. James Cameron. Angela Bassett, the very beautiful Angela Bassett, is 67 today. Also 67, Material Girl. Madonna. Timothy Hutton is 65.
Louise Sisson, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
I believe her name was Madonna Louise Sisson or something like that. However you
it was. And then the lead guy from The Office television show, Steve Carell, is 63. And the youngest of this whole bunch.
That's what she said.
And the youngest of this whole bunch, who I share a lot of That's What She Said jokes with, and she loves them. My wife, Christy's birthday is today as well. So happy birthday.
And for those who do not know Christy, she is an amazing woman. She is amazing. I've never, ever, ever, ever seen her without a smile. Now, that doesn't mean she's smiling 24/7. I'm sure she's got her moments. But I've never seen her without a smile. I've never seen her not willing to help. When we were at the radio station, she used to bring muffins and brownies and cookies. And I'm still waiting for some more. But anyway, maybe Wednesday night at trivia. Just saying. But anyway, no, Christy is a gem. She's an absolute gem. And so you are maybe the luckiest man on earth.
I'm right up there. I tell you right
today. I consider myself
the luckiest man alive. No, I've gotten into the habit this year because I thought it was funny and she thought it was funny too. She's my favorite ex-girlfriend. So she's my last ex-girlfriend, my favorite ex-girlfriend, and loved her so much I made her my wife. So there you go. Happy birthday.
I'm not sure I'm not sure I get that.
Well, for a long time,
ex-girlfriend, because she's no longer your girlfriend once she's your wife. Okay, duh.
There you
Took
go.
A little off the top there as it went over my head.
And we still, because I think any good healthy marriage, you still date. You go on dates once in a while, and you still boyfriend, girlfriend, the date thing, right? So that's when we've done that for years and years and years. And then I heard someone this last year say something about their wife calling them their ex-girlfriend, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. I'm like, I'm going to try that on my wife and see what she does. And she gave me that side eye look at first, and then she goes, oh. And once it settled in, she's like, yeah, that's funny. I like that. That's fun. So I got permission to call her my ex-girlfriend.
That is funny.
It's similar to what I used to tell my kids when they were little. And every so often I'll tell them again now just to make them chuckle. I will often, when my kids were little, I would often tell them, you know, honey, I would love you even if you were ugly.
Oh God.
And it made them stop and think for a little bit, because I said, even if you were ugly.
Yeah.
In other words, you're not ugly. You're beautiful. Come on.
Yeah.
Making you think. I want to make you think. Turn your brain on, because you know what? We have enough people in this world with their brains off. So let's make sure our brains are on.
And yeah, let's turn those brains on for trivia later.
We got some trivia today. We've got a guest. We're going to be sharing all things Rockford BMX with our friend Garret Rapp. But before we get into that, we need to take care of this. Our current race to 10 has me in the lead by a score of 3-2, but don't count Tom out. He's like the Brewers. They always come from behind and end up winning the game, just like they did again last. Did you see what they did last night?
They were down 8-1, and they came back and won it 10-8.
I was at last Sunday's game when they went down 5-0 by the fourth inning, and Christy and I are looking at each other like, well, I guess it's us. We show up here at the Brewers game and they just lay an egg, and then they started coming back, and then
they won it like 14-5 or something.
No. This was Sunday's game with the walk-off home run.
Oh, okay.
They tied it at 6 in the 8th inning, and the crowd is going bonkers. This is the day after the flood too in Milwaukee. So it was a sellout crowd. There was over 42,000 seats sold for the game, but there was only 33,000 people there because of all the flooding and stuff. And there was parking lots flooded around Milwaukee, the stadium, American Family Field. I took my dad and my stepmom, and we were planning this. We've been planning this day for a while, and so we got there nice and early, real early. Watch all the pregame stuff. Unfortunately, they weren't doing batting practice that day, but it was still fun to see all the stuff come together.
Yeah.
So
you don't get to watch home team batting practice anyway. You only get to watch the away team.
But yeah, they tied it up in the 8th, and then Collins steps up in the 9th. First batter, 9th inning for the Brewers. 5th pitch, a 2-2 count, clocks one out of the park. The place goes ballistic. It was so much fun. That's why I'm wearing this thing. Was full of nachos the day of the time.
That's our big number. Cheesy.
That's what it is. Our big number of the week this week is 125 billion. Has absolutely nothing to do with the Brewers. The answer is sunflower or software. Sunflower or software. We encourage you to put your guess in the chat, and put your guess in the chat. Let us know what you think the answer is this week.
Okay, before we get to Garret, I want to say one thing. I'm wearing my Packer hat, and I'm wearing my Jordan Love jersey. But if you look closely, you know it's not really a Jordan Love jersey. It is an Aaron Rodgers jersey that's been converted just for kicks and giggles. And on the back it says Love. I put black duct tape on there. I now have green duct tape. I could repair this jersey and make it an official Jordan Love, or I can use the $200 gift card I got from my incredibly wonderful niece, Ashley. She sent me a Fanatics gift card, and I went on the website, and I'm like, oh my God, I want that. Oh my God, I want that. Oh my God, I want that. I'm going to settle on one jersey, and I'm actually going to let my son order one too. I'm going to get 2 of them, so we're going to have matching jerseys. So I'm going to do that a little bit later today. I am getting a Jordan Love baseball jersey.
There you go.
I'm so excited. I am so excited.
You see him wearing those a lot.
What's that?
You see him wearing those a lot. He likes baseball jerseys.
Well, yeah, I love them because they button down, and you can wear them with anything. You wear shirts under them and this and that. This here, it's a football jersey, and whatever. And I get a lot of football jerseys, so I'm going to get the baseball jersey. And thank you to Ashley, my most wonderful niece. I'm going to call her a little bit later. Tried to call her yesterday. She was doing something. She tried to call me. We've been playing phone tag for a couple of days, but she's incredible. She just really is an incredible girl.
Maybe you need a head of public relations, and that's what our friend Garret Rapp does with Rockford Bmx, public relations director. at Rockford Bmx. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the screen, Garret Rapp. Good morning to you, buddy.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
Doing good. I've got my talking sports. I've got my Nolan Ryan coffee cup.
Look at
Nolan
that.
Ryan coffee cup. I love it.
Dude,
Yep.
I got to take
What
this
the-
helmet off. This thing is not meant to be worn.
One of the old Sports
All the
Impressions
time.
mugs. This is my favorite coffee mug.
That's so cool, and it's big. I mean, my God, you'll be flying for about 4 days on that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Garret,
I got
I have a
a
suggestion
loaded up
for you.
plate.
Yeah, I have a suggestion for you. If you ever do a podcast, do you do a podcast?
I don't know.
Okay, if you do a podcast, here's what you call it. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Rapping with Garret.
I was that's been like a recurring theme in my life since I was like 5.
So
Oh,
Rapp
okay.
is your real name, you're telling me.
yeah, RAPP.
That's not a stage name when you were traveling around with the band for years.
No.
When I first got into radio, one of the guys at the radio station had changed his name slightly. So it was because it was a consideration. Do you really want to change your name? Do you want to have a broadcast, moniker? And I was like, I think I'm sticking with my name. I don't know. Saunders is common enough and not common enough that I think it made sense to keep my last name, but I didn't knock anybody who changed their name. That's
No,
whatever.
a lot
Just
of
like
people
that.
will do it. Like, for instance, I don't want to name any names, but there are
Anonymity.
quite a few at the radio station where we used to work that, that's not their name. Okay. Some very somewhat prominent morning show people, not Riley. Riley's the same. But anyway, actually, no. Well, I don't know. No, he's not. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What I was going to say is somebody had asked me about the same thing. They say, well, when you're in radio, what is your on-air name? Tom Warner.
Well, I go by Tom Warner on the radio, and
Yeah, but my real name is Tom Warner.
that's right. That's right.
Like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. No, not to you, it doesn't.
We
To
got to
everyone
get into
else
all
it
things
does.
Garret Rapp. We need to know about
All
you,
right.
buddy. So where did you? Are you a Rockfordian? Did you grow up in the 815, or did you grow up somewhere else? Tell us about your youth.
Yeah, I grew up in Pingree Grove, actually, which is right next to Elgin.
Okay.
And I moved out here freshman year of high school to Winnebago. So I attended Winnebago High School and got involved with the BMX track like right after we moved here. I was really excited. It was, before there were iPhones and you could conveniently look up distances between two places with ease. I had to investigate and find out how far we were from the Rockford BMX track, because that was when I lived in Pingree Grove. The Elgin track was there, and it was always like the Mecca Rockford BMX, and we're moving to Rockford, so I was excited to figure out how close I was to the track. And when we moved here, being in Bago, I was like 5 miles away from the track. It was just a huge deal when we moved here for me. And
You can ride your bike that far, right?
I did a couple times. It was and on a single speed BMX bike, it was less than ideal. But it was like I had a trailer of hay that I had to stack. I lived on a horse ranch. And I had to stack that hay before I could go to the races. And if my mom had lessons that day, she wasn't giving me a lift to the track. I had to figure it out. So
Wow.
I had a couple times where I woke up at, before sunrise, stacked a trailer full of hay, and then got on my bike and rode it all the way to the track from my house. That happened a couple of times.
Well, here's the thing too. You get to the track and then you're racing. So you're like, right.
All day.
You're racing all day. And then you got to ride home. It's
and then
like
you're praying to God you can find somebody that'll throw your bike in their truck and drop you off on their way home.
and with that community, you probably did most times, right? There was somebody there that was
always. I've had this conversation with so many people. Just Rockford BMX it's real magic. It's a real magic place, and something happens there every day, every event day that we hold. Something memorable and impressionable happens in somebody's life. It's just an incredible place.
Well, since we're starting there, let's start there. Did you get involved in BMX just because it caught your interest? Did you have a buddy back in Pingree Grove that was like, hey, come check this track out? Or how did it start for you?
Yeah, I had a neighborhood, your straight out of the movies, like neighborhood gang of kids that all raced and rode. And I remember catching a lift to the Elgin track, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest place I've ever seen.
This is real. This isn't just on TV. It's real. It's a real place.
Yeah. And back then I didn't get as involved with the racing curriculum as I did later in life. But, BMX it's your own pace. You're going at your own pace, and there's not a dynamic of school sports where it's militant. It's very self-paced, and there's no bench. You're never not participating. So, from day one out of the gate, you're participating at your own level. You're always racing against kids that are your skill level. So novices always race novices, experts always race experts. So I don't know, the community out there is really what I gravitated towards. And when I really got into BMX, when we moved here, I stopped doing everything else. Like, I played soccer, I played football, I played baseball, I played everything. And I actually, my freshman year of high school is when I started getting pretty good at BMX and got involved with nationals. And I quit the football team freshman year in a new school. Oh my gosh, that's like, that was a huge no-no. And then my coach was my
Winnebago. Winnebago, that football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big no-no. But I had to quit. I had to, because my national schedule was so busy. I couldn't. I thought football would help with racing, because I'm going to be, doing 2-a-days like Bago does.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of in the way, and, something I couldn't subscribe to enough time to. So I had to quit, and coach was not.
So I got to ask you though, were you like the quarterback, the backup quarterback, the defensive linebacker? Were you one of the side of the balls, like main guys or anything like that? Because I know I wasn't.
No, I went to like a month of practice.
Oh, okay. So you didn't really get established.
No, I didn't get an established spot, but I could throw the ball because I was a pitcher, and pitching and playing baseball was my first love. Hence the Nolan Coffee Cup.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of I was kind of in the quarterback role, and I think that made it even worse when I quit, because I was being, directed into that quarterback.
They thought you were going to be when you're a senior, dude, when you're a junior and senior, you're going to be awesome. And here you are leaving already, and early on in your high school football career.
Well, there goes our state championship.
Yeah. So you get plugged into the Rockford BMX community, and back then, how many kids are out there racing on a weekly basis? What was the turnout out there?
So BMX has always been cyclical. It's big and it falls off, and it's big and it falls off, and it's kind of always been that way. But in the early and mid 90s, BMX was kind of on an upward slope again from the decline of the huge 80s boom that it had. Like, BMX in the 80s had a lot of corporate backing. It had a lot of, it was almost a borderline mainstream sport. You had like McDonald's commercials at the BMX track. It was a huge thing in the 80s, and it kind of trailed off more so in the late 90s, and then picked back up again when it was introduced into the Olympics, of course.
Right.
Kind of always been that way. It's been a really cyclical sport that's up and down, up and down.
And is there any kind of correlation between BMX and like skateboarding? Is there like an overlap in that community at all?
No, and not really. And it's kind of even more segregated nowadays, because you've introduced scooters into the equation.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Like, aggressive inliners, that's a trend that, like anything 90s, that's a trend that's starting to make its way back, and there's kids like riding rollerblades again. But rollerblading for a while was a completely dead sport. There was no one doing that. You know,
Yep.
there was like one brand left producing skates. Like nobody was inline skating. And now the subculture we grew up in here at the pit, you know, I was one of the guys that helped run the pit. And the subculture there was skateboarding and bike riding are all synonymous, and it's a community that functions together and evolves together. But that's kind of, you know, when the pit closed, skateboarding and bike riding in this area became more segregated from one another. You know, for me, they were very, very parallel subcultures with each other, with music and with art. And, you know, the pit was like you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, like the ninja layer where there's kids skateboarding down a snake run and they're like selling cigarettes to each other, and like that was like what the skate park culture was like. You know, it's like just this really, really cool underground place, and you know it's crazy how many kids came through that place. Like with this new skate park in Davis Park, you know, that's the conversation in Rockford right now is the skate park. It's already not going to allow bikes. It's going to be a very, you know, skateboard only thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's cool to have seen in the last 20 years. I can't count how many times Mike Kaiser and I went to a building to look at it for a possible indoor BMX, you know, and indoor skate park.
Yeah.
So
how cool would that be?
Yeah, that's the goal, and that's the final level, the final chapter is finding an indoor facility so we don't have to stop functioning for 5 months a year.
Okay. Is there anything on the radar that's promising?
There's things that have developed, and I'm hoping when you're running BMX season, it's busy. Like there's just a lot of moving parts. I'm doing something for that BMX track I have a thing pulled up on my screen above me right now working for the BMX track. There's just always something to do. So when the season winds down, I would like this to be the last winter without an indoor BMX track. And then next we get some ground broke and we get a plan moving.
Well, there's enough vacant buildings around Rockford. You think there'd be one? Because when it comes to BMX, you want obviously a big space. How high of a ceiling do you really need, though? It's not like you need to go do crazy jumps and stuff, right?
16 feet. And if you're building a building, doing clear span roofs where there's no rafters is the way to go.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of buildings here, but there's a lot of obstructions or space limitations. So we have a plan, and it'd just be so cool to see that finally after all these years come together. And one thing that's always been very intriguing to me about BMX and skateboard culture is we're talking about it now. There's people that at the BMX track, for instance, there's people that show up there every single day, every practice day, every race day. They're there with their kids, the whole family. It's like their thing. And you watch these kids grow up doing this thing together, and then one day they're just gone. They just don't come back, and they've moved on to football, or they've moved on to, you know, and you develop friendships and relationships with these people, and you know, life happens and people move on to other stuff. It's just been so intriguing to me. That BMX track was their thing. Like it brought their family together for years. And there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families like that out there.
and then things change.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that place really is magic.
Like anything, I guess, you know, some kids will grow out of it. They'll move on to other things. But it's still something that I think I would think would be an all age kind of a thing. Cause it's not like some sports where you are going to wear your body out really bad. I mean, obviously you can wipe out and you can hurt yourself in racing bikes. That is a real possibility, but it's I would think you could do it for quite a while.
Yeah, there's kids out there. We have our little strider class where they're bikes without pedals and cranks. They use their center of balance and paddle with their feet. There's kids. We've had a 2-year-old, and every weekend there's 3 and 4-year-olds that race in that strider class. And our biggest class out there is the 5-year-old novice class. That's the biggest class. 5 years old. I mean, I don't think I could even hardly talk yet when I was 5. These kids
I
I
was
remember.
still in diapers.
I remember getting my first dirt bike for Christmas for my fifth, when I was 5, and I couldn't wait to get outside and ride that thing when it was, when the snow melted. I loved that bike.
Yeah.
It was not made for racing, that's for sure. But I remember it. I remember I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
I need to bring up the screen here because especially when you're talking about these kids, because this is a really good shot of what goes on at Rockford Bmx.
Yeah, that's the 5-year-old novice class right there on the screen.
You get these kids out there.
It's action, man. And there's parents lined up in the infield down that whole first straightaway, and they're just screaming out there, pedal, pedal, pedal. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. It's awesome.
Hey, Garrett, what is the age limit, the timeout age for BMX racing there?
So I think Miss Kitty is kind of our celebrated veteran, the oldest rider in the sport, and I believe she is 79.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
BMX nowadays compared to when I raced real heavily in the 90s, back then BMX was your tracks were more aggressive. They were very lippy. They had jumps. They were more like dirt jumping trails built into a track. And nowadays tracks have come so far, and they're very beginner friendly. This is obviously more of an advanced age. So these are all
paved. It's a paved track.
Well, yeah, that's what I was noticing.
It appears to be paved, but it's actually it's dirt that has about 1,800 gallons of glue on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a recipe that was actually kind of innovated here. If we're talking Rockford Bmx, we got to talk Jake and Candy Caro. Jake and Candy are still to this day the track operators, and they've been doing this for 45 years.
Wow.
So Rockford Bmx started in 1977 by the Rockford JCs. The Park District gave a little stretch of land where they could start this new sport that was sweeping the nation by storm called BMX, and they let the JCs have a little slice of land to do a track. And Jake and Candy acquired the track, I believe, in 1983, and they've been track operators ever since. And we're talking like Jake is the guy that's still out there gluing the track, and he kind of formulated this glue recipe that allows water to, you have a dirt BMX track and you have a torrential downpour, well, you have an entire BMX track to repair the next day. But with this glue, the glue compound kind of beads the water off and allows that dirt to sustain some integrity through rainstorms. So we've had races in like pouring rain out there, and the track is perfect. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Jake was also kind of the innovator of asphalt turns. He was one of the first tracks in the sport to asphalt his turns, and he has his secret compound that he doesn't share with anybody. And he's got a recipe to make those blacktop berms sticky when it rains and make them not slippery.
That's awesome.
It's wild. This is, I know Mayor McNamara did visit to Kegel's bike shop yesterday and talked to Rob. And Rob was talking about some of those old ledgers that date back almost 100 years from Kegel's bike shop. Rockford has an amazing cycling community and legacy here, and a lot of people don't know about it. Kegel's bike shop almost being 100-year-old business that sold the first Harley Davidson motorcycle ever in Rockford. And this BMX track, one of the first tracks in the sport, iconic BMX track, and it's here. We have that in our city. And awesome. We have all these tailored events and programs that walk people right into the sport and introduce them to the sport. Today our event is Scholarship Day, and that is with help from the Community Foundation Northern Illinois and Youth We Trust program, we're giving out 50 free memberships and a whole day summer camp that starts today at noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the screen that I had up here previously. Is this something that people can walk up to, or do they have to register beforehand?
They can walk up to it. We kind of preferred, signups in advance just to get all their information into the system, but they can walk up to that today. They're welcome to come to that today.
Because that's, anyone that's watching this live today, if you really want to go check this out, it is available for you to go and check out. What time does that start today?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. So you get there at noon and check everything. How long of an event will this be today for you guys?
This will be all day, 12 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even if someone is just wanting to check things out, just want to go out there and see what's going on, maybe their kid isn't on, it just is on the fence about whether or not they want to do something like this, go look, just go take a peek, right?
Yeah. And we're a free spectator. We're in Searles Park. You can come out and just hang out on the bleachers. We're kind of known nationally for our chicken wraps and concessions. So you could come out and grab a chicken wrap, grab a spot in the bleachers, and just enjoy some BMX racing. There you go.
So 4950 Safford Road inside Searles Park out there. And go check it out. If your kid even has an inkling of an interest in it, just go watch, see what happens. I think probably, I'm guessing that the number one concern of most parents out there is, oh, my kid's going to wipe out and they're going to break their wrist. They're going to bust their arm. I imagine you have on occasion a horrendous crash. You got some stories you would tell about wipeouts on the track.
You'd think that there'd be a lot more that happens than does. I mean, it's pretty. I'm our announcer, so I'm watching like quite literally every single lap that takes place in that BMX track. I don't think we've really had anybody carted off. Sometimes you'll get somebody that a common BMX injury is a broken collarbone because you fall and you land on your chest, and I have had 3 of them, so they're definitely the most common. But yeah, we really statistically, BMX is nowhere near as dangerous as every school sport there is, So yeah, we don't really have as much as you'd think. And these kids, when they fall and crash, we require long sleeves, we require long pants, we require helmets. They have to have protective gear on. So when they crash, and it's kind of a cool thing that happens when a kid races and that first crash comes, there is this really powerful life lesson attached to that, to where you could quit and never do it again, or you can get back on your bike and get back up and keep moving. And that first time for a kid at they're having their first crash experience, when they get back on the bike and they continue and they get back up in the gate and do it again, that's such an important lesson that happens there.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
That's huge. We need to do things that we fail at. I talk a lot about if you're not trying something that you're not quite sure if it's going to work or not, what are you doing with your life? I mean, come on, let's do things that you might stumble and fall. You might so some of the events that we do with In Crowd the last couple of years, I'm like, we're probably going to try some things. They're going to end up being really dumb ideas, but we thought there was an inkling of a possibility that was going to be really cool, so we gave it a shot. We did this thing last year, and we called it the Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest. We had no idea if anyone was going to have any interest in doing this.
That was a great time.
Garret lights up like, yeah, this is great. We had a blast last October putting on this event, and it was like, okay, this thing worked, so I think we want to do it again. And we did it again in April. We gave away $1,000 grand prize last October. We gave a $2,000 grand prize in April. And so the Rockford Rescue Mission and Rock House Kids, they won money, and other organizations won some money as well. And so this year we're doing it again in November, and this time we got a $5,000 grand prize. And Garrett's back to be one of our judges. So thank you so much for volunteering to do that.
I had a blast. That was a really good time.
We had a good time. 12 teams again will be competing this time for a $5,000 grand prize for their chosen not-for-profit. And now that since we're on this topic real quick, just want to let everybody know team signups have not been released yet. So that's probably going to happen this week. I haven't set a date for that because I was not quite sure how sponsorship was going to come together for this, but it came together really quite fast. So thank you to Medicare 411 for just stepping up and saying $5,000 grand prize. We got you covered. So they are covering the entire $5,000 grand prize. Medicare 411, Tracy Foltz and her crew over there. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Our new friends over at Waldom Electronics, Roger over there, he's stepped up for one of the $1,000 prizes that will be given away. And we have another $1,000 prize to give away as well. And where did this go? I got to get some stuff organized here, dude. But this has really been coming together really well. I want to thank everybody for making this happen again this year. And we'll be announcing all this stuff. But Garrett's back to be one of our celebrity judges. This time we're going to be at Tabala Event Center. So come on out for that. Plan now to come on out for that and spectate. Again, that's kind of like this is the BMX thing. You can come out and just watch and check things out today. We are going to be actually selling tickets for spectators, but that ticket money is going to help also fund some of these prizes we're going to be giving away to not-for-profits. And each team does have to have a business and not-for-profit teaming up. So that's one of the requirements for this November event. Each team will need to consist of a business sponsor and a not-for-profit. The team members that are playing the contest can be anybody you want. You can put anybody on the team you want, up to 8 people. So that there's no like restrictions on that, but the team itself is sponsored by a business. The collaboration thing is what we're really going for here in the 815. We want people collaborating. We want people helping each other out, coming up with better ideas. And that's how we got on this whole topic in the first place. Brainstorming, coming up with ideas that might seem really goofy or dumb at first, but then you work them out and you're like, hey, this is a really cool, fun idea. When it comes to BMX racing, obviously you got all different age groups out there at the track and stuff like that. Is there some fun stuff that you do that's maybe racing different ages, has there been some stuff that you've tried in the past that some worked, some not worked, that you're happy you tried when it comes to racing bikes?
Yeah, we do. There's a lot of events that happen. My personal favorite, our Halloween costume contest every year. There's like 150 riders that participate, and that we do a big contest for prizes, and then they race. A lot of them race in their costumes.
That's awesome.
But like we've had some like insanely creative costumes come through there, and kids are like, they work on them all year, and they're so excited to show everybody the costume contest. It's I think there might be a picture in there.
I was gonna say I was gonna check out this gallery real quick. I see a guy look at this dude.
Yeah, this was so cool.
Look at this dude,
just adorable.
He's got his horse there on the bike.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. Also, we have a vintage weekend coming up actually in September, first weekend in September.
Vintage.
Yeah, that's there is a vintage bike show that happens, and it's the oldest vintage bike show in the country. And it's been happening here in Rockford for 25 plus years. Nice. And every year, it used to take place in June, and we moved it to September, and it takes place, and we make a whole weekend theme out of it. So that photo on screen right now on the top right. So that is
this dude.
That is a guy named Harry Leary. Harry is one of the most celebrated pros of all time. And he came out to this event 2 years ago, had his original Diamondback uniform that was on display at the Hall of Fame Museum in Tulsa. He had them package that up and mail it to us so he could race in it on his original Diamondback Turbo.
My gosh.
Yeah. And then he packed it back up and sent it back to the museum to put back on display after the race. Like, it was so cool.
So this picture from like last year. How old is this?
This was 2 years ago.
2 years. Okay.
And
Awesome.
it looks like it's straight out of 1984.
This looks like
Wow.
a movie, like one of those goofy movies where the guy comes back and does something that he probably shouldn't be doing, but he wins anyway.
And some of these guys, we make this event. It's 80s class and 90s class, so 80s bikes, 90s bikes, and I'm announcing the bike, not the rider. So seeing these guys the first go around in the 80s class, they're lined up with like Turbo Leary on his signature Diamondback Turbo in his original uniform. So it was just such a cool time.
The only thing I remember from the 80s was Mongoose.
Yeah, Mongoose is still a player.
Mongoose was a big deal in our neighborhood when I grew up. We didn't have races in our neighborhood, but we all had our own bikes, and it was the coolest thing when you could buy a frame, either paint it or give it to one of our friends' dads who could take it to his shop and chrome it for you. A couple of our guys had the money that they could afford to get it chromed, and they were like the coolest kids in the neighborhood. But I just had a spray can of black paint and painted mine black and bought the pieces as the 7 Mile Fair. And that was always fun to build a bike. Are these kids, are any of them like still like building their bikes themselves, or is this all stuff that they are buying shop? What do you call it? Factory ready.
It's, a cool experience that I'm looking at that photo that's in the middle. And that's with Jake's son, Brandon, another guy that helps run this place. So that's little Oliver and his dad. I grew up with his dad riding in the 90s, and I'm seeing that a lot now. You wake up one day and you're 44, like that happens somewhere along the line. Zach's got his kid now, and his kid is into it. Like he's into it because he's into it, not because dad's making him be into it. He like eats, sleeps, and breathes BMX. So it's a really cool experience to see all these guys I grew up with their kids now, racing, and then the dads that's got to be, I don't have kids, but that's got to be just the coolest experience to see your kids completely fall in love with something you've been so passionate about your whole life.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Well, you've got this event today, and we already invited everybody out to that. So if you want to check out, I'm going to put the Rockford Bmx. I already put the link in the chat. I'm going to put the Facebook link in the chat as well. So it's easy to get to. You can go right to the Facebook page and check things out, Rockford Bmx, and plug in. Maybe you got a friend with kids that might be interested. Plug them in, let them know what's going on out there. 4950 Safford Road in Rockford. Are you okay hanging out for a little bit more time? Because I didn't really ask you how much time you had this morning. We don't have a second guest today, so it's all you. We're all about you.
Yeah, I can hang for a little while longer.
If you're okay to hang a little bit, I did want to ask you a little bit about this thing right here.
Oh yeah.
you spent some years in this band called the Color Morale, and for those who don't have a clue what the Color Morale is, tell us about this.
Yeah, so I've had a really, really cool life to date. I've never really had a job. I've always done things I'm really passionate about doing, and I've always, I don't know how I've been as lucky as I've been, but I've had a very cool life to date. So the band was and is a chapter and a part of my life that I've done it for a long time. We started this band in the early 2000s, and it kind of snowballed into a thing that grew to a pretty big fan base in the Midwest region. And we got to a point with it where we changed the name. We got rid of a couple members and started over and made it really mission driven. And we got signed to a record label and did 3 albums with an independent label. And then we got signed with a major label and did 3 albums with a major label. So I toured for quite a number of years. When I stepped away from BMX, it was because of this. We got a record contract, and I hit the road, and I toured 10 months a year for many years.
That's a whole other life, isn't it? That's road life is not for everybody.
it's, it's a totally different life. And I just went and saw some friends of mine play the Riviera in Chicago. It's their farewell tour, and just talking to them about the dynamics of touring versus YouTube. That, they make their income on YouTube. They have millions of streams on their if you scroll down, how many views does that video have? This is a music video.
1.9 million views on the Rise Records YouTube channel.
So you want to hear something I think about?
Rise Records just has just under 3 million subscribers. So how about that for Rise Records? And someone right now is saying, I never heard of them.
Yeah. So this was like around 2014, 13, somewhere.
It says 12 years ago when it got uploaded.
Yeah. So it's funny because YouTube, our first record deal, we signed away all of our YouTube streams and royalties. So, YouTube was a brand new thing, and it hadn't been made as commercial as it is now.
Right.
So talk about the things you do and kick yourself in the butt for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Signing away all those YouTube royalties. It was pretty dumb. But,
who knew?
But yeah, it's a big part of my life, and a big chapter of my life. I toured year round overseas, went to Europe and Australia, and had a solo exclusive release in Japan. And, it was a really cool thing I did for a long time.
Well, when you say the band became a mission driven thing, where did that come from? What happened with the making it a mission driven band?
Yeah. So when we started over, we were under a different name, and we were like a local band, and like didn't really have a reason as to why we were doing what we were doing. Like, people are in bands for a multitude of different reasons. Some people want to be in a band to party and have the party atmosphere, and that's, what they're into. So we wrote a song called, oh gosh, I'm spacing on the name of the song. This lost song is yours. And I had somebody reach out. This is back before most of apps were, what they are now, but somebody reached out about, they were going to commit suicide, and it was like through a MySpace message. And it was like, I've never really dealt with anything like that before. And I had somebody like threatening to harm themselves that I didn't even know. And, it just kind of, I think it was a turning point in our band. Like when you're in a band and you're on stage and you grow to a point to where you're signed to a record label and all the stuff that comes along with that, you have this opportunity. You have a lot of people looking at you and looking up to you, and you have this opportunity to really say some things that resonate and that can help you.
Impact a lot of people.
Yeah, it was like this. We kind of discovered that we had this power to do good with our art. And music's always been an art release for me. And during that time, putting that art into some lyrical content and into some creative work, it really seemed to help a lot of people. And as the band grew, and we're on the road all year, we're talking to thousands of people all the time. It was a weird experience, because as the band grew in commercial success, the fan base grew, but the reason was the same. So it's almost like you got two things in parallel that are growing, but at some point you're going to become so big in a commercial sense that you can't be available for that many people anymore. And like this video showing now was inspired by the movie Requiem for a Dream, and it's touching on some things that I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of conversations with people about, and we kind of touched on it on this whole album. The album was called Hold On, Pain Ends. And man, the things that young adults experience and go through nowadays, even more so with social media versus back then, it's gotten tremendously worse than it even was. But I've always had a big heart for that. And a lot of the statistics of you know, things that people struggle with and the suicide rate and things that young adults and teens struggle with. I've always just kind of had a big heart for that. And at some point, the art and the mission kind of fused, and that's what our band became.
That's awesome. That's and you're totally right about that too. The teens today are going through some stuff that we on a such smaller scale dealt with in the 80s and 90s. Comparison is the thief of joy, right? Isn't that the saying? Comparison is something like that. You start to compare yourself against all these people around the world who are posting all these wonderful things that they get to do with their lives. And you're like, I'll never get to do that. Well, they'll never get to do what you get to do. And whatever that might be today, that could be anything. It's really cool that you guys saw this as an opportunity to do good. And you got to travel around the world a little bit with was it the Warped Tour?
Yeah, we did Warped Tour. We did 2 complete US Warped Tours. We did the Warped Tour Europe. We got to fly over and you know, we did like a lot of touring. I mean, when you're in a full-time touring rock band, when you're home, you're not making money, you know?
Right.
So when you start making money for someone else, they don't want you to come home anymore, because when you're home, you're not making money.
Just the truth, just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. We did this album, the 3rd album we did, it was called No Hope. And when that album released, it was just a very kind of against the grain, like production wise and what everybody else was doing. It was something really unique. Okay. Our really unique. You know, we've got a lot of different flavors that kind of make up a very unique style of what we are. But when that album came out, it blew the band up, and the album was like, you know, Billboard album, and it was top of the readers charts for a year straight. And it was just a huge, you know, a huge stamp in the music industry as to something different, unique, and the first of its kind. And, you know, and I'm referencing like things that were said in magazines and interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that 3rd album, that No Hope album, that was the last record we did on an indie label, and that led to us signing with a major label that was in the process of selling, and that was a whole nother experience.
Oh, the politics of behind the scenes music business.
There's a lot.
Do you guys keep in contact? Do you ever want to get the band back together? Maybe do a reunion concert or something like that?
The literal band back together. We actually had a conference call last night about we recorded a couple new songs in Nashville earlier this year, and kind of had a conference call to discuss plans about what to do with them. Like we're all extremely busy. Like I have like 96 jobs. And our guitar player is a tour manager for some massive bands in the rock culture, and our drummer plays for a pretty huge band that it was cool to see him join, because he was a big fan of the band growing up as a kid.
Oh, good for him.
Drummer. So that's kind of cool. But we're all just so busy. It's tough, you know.
So
like we can't go back to that anymore. Like the full-time touring lifestyle, everybody's just too busy for that. That's not going to be a thing that can.
But a reunion concert at some point or something like that might be something to do. And where would you do that? Would that be
we did that last year. We did a Christmas show at WC Social Club in West Chicago, and so it was sold out. It was a great show.
There you go. Well, the Color Morale, and obviously I'm not playing the music on here because if I do that, it'll shut down our YouTube thing. So.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I can tell you it's fine, but I don't own my own music.
Right. We played a video. In fact, I wanted to bring up Rockford Robotics with you real quick, because they've got this building off of Kishwaukee, and I'm like, I wonder how much space up at Rockford Robotics, if there's enough space in there to put a BMX track. We're going to have an In-Crowd 815 networking group event there next spring. But they got a building, and yeah, I mean
I was along those same lines. I was thinking about the Kmart on Sandy Hollow. They've got a Rockford food pantry or something like that
Well,
is in
that's now
there.
the neighborhood market for the Northern Illinois Food Bank. That's funny you bring
Right,
that up,
right,
'cause I
right. Food
just
bank. That's right.
volunteered there this week.
But I guarantee you they're not using that whole building. I would bet half that building's still sitting empty. It might not be a bad idea.
I wonder if the ceiling would be high enough. I
It's
don't
not,
know.
I
Yeah.
really looked at that building.
Okay. That would have been my first question. I don't think the ceilings are high enough to really
Yeah.
make it something worth pursuing. But
And the footage, like you really need to have like 300 feet long and 175, 200 feet wide is like your ideal, something that would make it work as far as a layout for a BMX track.
Okay.
Would the cost of possibly just putting up a pole barn somewhere be prohibitive or what? I mean, maybe just start from scratch and build it the way you want it. Get some donations.
Numbers are run and it's doable, but at this stage, we need some help from Rockford. We need the city to help us out a little bit and get it off the ground. Our national event, every summer we hold the Midwest Nationals. It's 30 plus years of being the host of the Midwest Nationals. That one weekend event, we bring in $800,000 to $1.2 million in economic impact, from all those people. And that's one weekend. That's just that national event. So you think about the course of the entire summer, and in this region, there's no indoor BMX track. So when the summer's done, the sport's done. There's nowhere else to go. I think the closest track is like deep in Indiana, but Wisconsin and Illinois we have nothing in the wintertime. So there's a huge need for it right now.
Have we given up on the sports bubble dome like they had at Hononegah? Are we done with that idea now? I know there's still one in the Chicago or one or two in the Chicago area, but is that something that we're like, nah, snowstorms wipe those things out eventually? So I wonder if that's.
I'd be interested to know what the operating cost is with having to run those generators nonstop, and I wonder what the operating cost looks like for one of those indoor domes.
Well, Hononegah looked at all the costs, and it was much cheaper to do the sports dome. And then, of course, after it collapsed, they just built a brand new building. So something to look at. Like Greg said, they do tend to collapse. It happened to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. It wasn't necessarily the same type of thing, but it had that weird kind of ceiling. And that thing collapsed. You remember that footage?
Yeah.
Woo, it's a good thing there wasn't a game going on.
That was pretty much the end of the Metrodome up there in Minneapolis. Well, I want to put one more thing up on the screen. I know Tom's chomping at the bit to get to some trivia because he always has some great trivia. But I want to put on the screen one more thing, and that's the Rockford Bmx YouTube channel, and show people at least what you guys put up there on the screen.
Do you have any audio that can come up? There's no music playing.
Okay.
Of all the things, like most of the things in my life that I never in a million years saw myself doing, like being a frontman of a rock band. So I remember this like it was yesterday. I was about 16 and I was down next to our announcer's tower. I was sitting there in full gear on my bike, and Jake, the track operator, came down, and he's got these giant bear paws for hands. Like when, these hands have done some work, and they've, so he comes down and he puts his giant bear paw on my shoulder, and he says, "Young man, I'm going to need you up in the tower today." And I'm like, "Oh,
what?"
He's like, "I'm going to need you to announce today's racing." And I'm like, "No, I don't know how to do that."
That's not my gig, dude. Well, it is now.
That's kind of what he said. I didn't ask if you knew how to do it. I told you I need to have it done. And when Jake told you something needed to be done like that, you didn't ask questions. You went and did it to the best of your ability. So I went up and I announced the races that day, and I was terrified.
Sure.
I actually had
somebody know about Scholarship Day. Free membership, guys. You got to.
There you go. Sorry.
So that's me. Yeah, that's me, an announcer persona. It's so
Okay.
weird. But yeah, it all started that day where he made me get up there and announce because our announcer couldn't make it. And here we are all these years later, and I'm the tracks announcer. That's so funny to me.
Well, you got the passion for it, you got the knowledge about it. So then all it comes down to is, do you have a voice that people can understand and want to hear more than their own voice in their head?
Yeah.
Right. Because if you know enough, I announced for the Ski Bronx for 3 years, right? And then that first year I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of off the top of my head throwing stuff out there. But by the second year, I knew quite a bit of stuff about show skiing, and I could, make it at least sound like I knew what the heck I was talking about. And after the third year, we had a really good show. And then I was like, okay, I got to get busy in my real estate career. I didn't have time to do that kind of stuff anymore. But it's fun when you make it fun, and then you find your personality. I bet you've got a track person, like you said, you got a track personality that's a little bit different than your, one-to-one personality. So you allow yourself to emphasize certain things and de-emphasize other things. So I imagine that's kind of who you are on the microphone out there.
One of my favorite movies, Greg, is Major League, and like Bob Uecker and Major League. My favorite thing. And so, we're a family sport, and it's it's got to be appropriate, of course. But there's scenes where I recall from like Bob Uecker and certain scenes from Major League where some of the stuff he would say, I was like, can you imagine saying something like that up here? That'd be so wild.
And obviously you're at a track full of kids, so you're trying to keep things PG and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you have to.
Like any good cartoon movie, there's always a little innuendo thrown in there for the parents. It's something that the kids might go over their heads. Yeah. But just for the fun of it, you throw it in there, that's what she said, whatever.
Yeah.
So is there a track motto? Is there a track, something out the BMX, Rockford Bmx track that everybody kind of knows, that when something happens, everyone kind of says, like when Tom does trivia, and when Tom says that one of the categories is science, the whole room says science.
Oh, there's a ton. Yeah. Like every race day, our 500 novice class, we'll do intros. So I'll throw on, like, we've been, caught in the Aussie theme, of course, with the music out there. And we'll throw on like Crazy Train and get the crowd all hyped up. And we read the rider, where they're from, their bike number, and then we make them do a little wave to the crowd, and then the whole crowd waves back to them. It's really cool. So
nice.
And I've got all my little, I've kind of developed all these little signature phrases and taglines that I do. So I remember growing up, the announcer, there was a consistent announcer that was out there every weekend when I was a kid. And every race day, he used to say, "It's a sport, so be a sport." That was like the intro to racing starting.
Okay.
And that first weekend that I took this over and started announcing, I introduced that, and it was just like a cool moment for me, like growing up out here. And I remember hearing his last name was Felvey, hearing him. It was just a cool moment for me, as a kid.
And now it's your job to be that guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there, I guess last thing on this whole thing, we've, because you're our only guest today, I knew we'd have a lot more time to just chat about a bunch of things. And because of your two major life things, your BMX and color morale, I'm really thankful we had all this time to chat about all this stuff. For the stuff that happens at Rockford Bmx, is there a need for volunteers? Do you have some places where you could put people in where they could really help you out and make things work better out there?
Always. Rockford Bmx is completely volunteer operated. We're a 501c3 non-for-profit, and we function, with a volunteer staff. So there's always help needed out there.
What does that look like for volunteers? What is something that someone could plug into where they're like, hey, I don't have certain skills, but I can take tickets, I can sell hot dogs? Is there what's the need?
And anyone is trainable to do anything out there.
Okay.
And I say that's coming from me, where I've been thrown into fire in multiple roles out here and just had to figure it out fast. So volunteers, we actually have, we'll take time to train them to do, the task at hand. So anything from helping in concessions, our concession stand serves a full menu of, our chicken wraps and our walking tacos, burgers, hot dogs. We have a full concession stand there. And, registration, there's always something to do out there. So
okay, it's not just track maintenance. It's not just something that you need muscle for. You need other things too. So
yeah,
if someone wants to plug in, I've got to get in the chat. We've got rockfordbmx.com, that link for the beginners league. This YouTube channel that you're looking at right now is up there. Just search for Rockford BMX. Easy. You're going to find it. Because there's only one. There's only one Rockford BMX. So
yeah.
All right. Before we get to trivia, Garrett, is there anything we did not ask you about today that you were really hoping that we would before we move on?
No, we covered cool layers of life and things that I've gotten to do and things I'm passionate about. What I'm doing currently, my full-time, my day job, I'm a sign guy and a graphic designer. So I have a lot of signs you've seen around town or something that I've been involved with. Pretty
You're
cool.
a designer too? You're a graphic designer?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
I'm with Signs Now Rockford. We just, for 815 Day, we just did this blade sign project where we brought 7 new blade signs to the River City district that were all displayed for 815 Day. So Carlisle, Woodfire, Rockford Art Deli, Scrap Jar, Inferno, Perella Beauty Company. There's all these new signs in downtown Rockford. So that's another thing I'm really passionate about. I love design. I'm sitting in my little design cave down here with my Nightmare on Elm Street pinball machine and my Freddy and my Simpsons arcade games. So something I'm really passionate about and I've done since high school for a very long time.
So what you're saying is you're still a kid at heart.
I try to make sure that I'm never growing up too much. Youthful hearts can make some really, really cool things happen in life. And I try to always remain youthful.
Nice. Good deal. All right. Well, let's throw things over to this right. All right, we'll throw Tom front and center to give us our me and you, Garrett. It's me and you against Tom's trivia to see if we can't score a few points. My goal is always to get at least better than 50%, and he has 7 questions. So if we can get 4 of them right, I'm feeling pretty good about us.
I give it
All right, so here's the thing. The last couple of times we've had 2 perfect rounds, 7-0.
Our trivia the last few weeks have been like the Milwaukee Brewers. We just don't lose. We just
Now
don't
wait a
lose.
minute. You know what? We never talked about this. Garrett, you're a big baseball fan. Are you a Cub fan?
I am a North Sider, yes.
Okay. There you go. Cubs are still in it. We're only 15 games. We're 15 games above 500. They're probably going to make the playoffs. And you know as well as I do, Greg and Garrett, that the best team in baseball, the best team in football, the best team in basketball doesn't often win.
They don't always win the whole thing.
They don't. So, but I'm not a Brewer hater. So I will be on the Brewer bandwagon for a
Cubs
while.
are still my second favorite team, and I know I'm getting a lot of flack for that. I don't care.
Who cares? It's all you. You do you. You know, don't worry about anybody else. All right, here we go. The first couple are going to be multiple choice, sort of.
All right.
Well, not sort of. They will. They'll be 50-50.
Give us some
That's
options.
what they'll be. All right. So, bowling. What is the maximum legal weight allowed for a bowling ball? Is it 16 pounds or 18 pounds?
I was quite a bowler.
Maximum legal weight for a bowling alley. Being a bowling ball. 16
back in the
pounds.
day, I bowled a lot. My thing in my town was bowling in the wintertime and our kids softball league in the summer. And I don't remember ever seeing a bowling ball over 16 pounds. I don't think I've ever seen a ball over 16 pounds.
I'm going to go 16.
16's correct. Nicely done. All right.
Fun to roll an 18 ball, though.
This might be a difficult one, but you got two choices. It's 50-50. Who was the 15th president of the United States? Was it?
Greg, that's all you.
Was it Franklin Pierce or James Buchanan?
The next question is going to be, what was the 8th president, right? 815. So
Yeah,
what's our options? What's our options for the 15th president?
That would be Franklin Pierce or James Buchanan.
I never did memorize the presidents, so I don't have that in my brain.
I'd guess.
Let's go Buchanan. Come on, Buchanan.
Buchanan's correct. Buchanan's correct. Nicely done. Nicely done.
I guess out there sometimes. All right.
Yeah. Well, when it's 50-50. All right. Now here is the 50-50s are done. So let's go movie taglines. Now this one should not be that difficult. Should not. But I say that and then it is, and then I get in trouble. All right. So this iconic 1973 movie was directed by George Lucas and starred a grown-up Ron Howard. You know, he played Opie Taylor on the Andy Griffith Show, just for
American.
reference. And came up with a tagline, "Where were you in '62? Name the movie."
Oh gosh.
And like Bon Jovi says, "You're halfway there." Da-da. Not living on a prayer. That's what the song says. But you're halfway there.
I know it's American Graffiti.
Yes, American Graffiti.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Woo. All right, we got 3. One more, and I'm feeling good.
All right. How many pairs of chromosomes does the average human have?
Pairs. So isn't there a total of 46? So that's 23 pairs.
23 is what I was going to guess. Yeah.
Yeah, all you got to do is remember 23 and me. So yeah, 23. You guys are 4-0. That's pretty good. And one of my favorite lines from a movie was the Woody Harrelson movie. He had a bunch of Down syndrome kids, and the basketball team goes, "Hey, I'm your homie with an extra chromie." Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Oh,
I didn't see the movie. I saw it on video, you know, years later. But all right. Well, you reached your goal there.
You reached the goal, so now it's all gravy from here. Here we go.
Alrighty. All right, here we go. Right, since 1963, what phrase has been printed on all U.S. banknotes?
In God We Trust.
1963, isn't what that's when they added "In God We Trust."
Yep. I'm stopping you right there because you got it right. I didn't want somebody to say, "Well, wait a minute, e pluribus unum."
No,
That's on something. That might be on the coins. I don't know, but on the bills, "In God We Trust."
It's amazing to think that happened in the 60s with everything else that happened in the 60s. But that's
well, in 1963 was also the year that God got kicked out of school. It might have been 62.
Right.
Madeline Marie O'Hare.
That's what makes it so wild.
Yeah. That was that might have been in response to that. You know,
maybe
might have been, but it's the same Supreme Court probably that kicked God out because Madeline Marie O'Hare made an effective argument. I don't know. It's just crazy. But anyway, Supreme Court hasn't always been the brightest. But anyway, all right, now number 6. You guys are just cruising along. I'm gonna have to start ramping up the questions here.
These were tough.
All right, so we're going presidents again. How many times has a father and son both been U.S. presidents? So if it was like Bob Smith and Bob Smith Jr., that would count as 1, not 2.
Adams and Adams.
How many times?
The 2 Adams early on. And of course the Bush. Bush and Bush. I want to say there's one more. I can't think of the name though.
I'm going 3 on this one.
I'm going 3 because I'm sure I think there's one more I can't think of, and Tom's going to tell me there's 4, but I'm going to
There's
Feeling
only
pretty good
two.
with 3. There's only 2. Oh,
There's only
okay.
two. A
Bummer.
lot of people think Teddy and Franklin Roosevelt were related. They were related.
No.
Teddy was his, I want to say, uncle or possibly great uncle. Uncle.
Was it uncle or cousins?
Cousin. It might have been cousin.
I think they
Might
were
have been
cousins.
cousin. Yeah. And then that was it. Yeah, just 2.
Bush and Adams. Okay. All right.
Well, you can do 6 and 1. All
All
right.
right.
Final one. This is a sports question. By the way, my last question was going to be, I was going to give you a real softball. What year did the BMX track open at Cyril's Park?
Ah,
But you actually mentioned it. Hell, it opened in '77. So that's when I threw in
Right
this one
there
here.
on the logo, baby. Since 1977. There
you
is.
go. There you go. All right. This is what I think is a very easy one. We all should know this one because Garrett, I think you're the youngest of the crew here. I'm the oldest, but we should all know this. All right. Name the father of NFL quarterbacks Eli and Peyton Manning. What is their dad's first name?
You remember his name, Garrett?
is it Arch?
Archie.
Archie. Yeah.
Archie Manning. Yes.
And the kid's name goes by Arch, right? The kid.
Yeah, that is Peyton. That is Eli's son, Arch Manning.
Arch, little Arch,
And-
big Archie. Yeah, that's the dad.
Yeah. Yep. Archie. He was a very good quarterback with maybe the worst franchise in the history of the NFL, at least for the first 20, 25 years of its existence, the New Orleans Saints. And he couldn't do anything. He was constantly sacked, held the record for the most sacks, and this and that. And wow.
You trade places with him and Fran Tarkington, and the Vikings win a Super Bowl. Fran was great. Fran was one of the greatest.
But Fran was in 3 Super Bowls. He lost 3 Super Bowls because he went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe he went up against, but I can't remember the other. Pittsburgh, I think twice in a 5-year span. I don't know as if it was Fran Tarkenton's fault. I think they just went up against the Steel Curtain and a few other things. I mean, that was an unbelievable. Football in the 70s was unbelievable. You know?
And it was smash mouth, man. It was smash.
Yeah.
Mouth.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins is who they lost to in 74.
Yeah. Okay.
73 actually. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers in 74. And then in 76, I think they lost to the Raiders. That's what it was. So they went up against Kenny Stabler and the Raiders. They went up against some real serious competition. So, but I agree with you on the Archie Manning thing. If he was with a better team, if he'd have went to the Rams, or if he'd have went to whoever, I don't know.
Some other team. He needed another team.
Some other team. The Denver Broncos, maybe.
Saints are not cool. All right. Well, I bet Garrett wants to get along with his day. He probably didn't anticipate spending a whole hour and 20 minutes with us.
Oh, this is awesome. Fun, guys. I'm excited for.
Well, we definitely had a good time.
For Matt Singer trivia, and we probably got to get Rockford Bmx, a crew out there doing some singing.
Hey, that would be cool.
They can all bring their bikes, go up on stage, be on their
gosh.
bikes with their helmets.
Do you guys remember that iconic movie from the 80s called Rad?
Rad.
Not ringing a bell.
No.
It's like a BMX movie that was in the 80s. They had Lori Loughlin from Full House in it.
Okay.
But there's a scene in that where they go to the high school prom, and the star actor and Lori do like this BMX dance disco together, and the whole school is clapping, and it's awesome.
Well, we can recreate it at Tavala.
Yeah.
We got some space. Space for bikes, though.
By the way, Garrett, you may have mentioned it. I may have missed it. I'm a little ADD. What is it called? If I want to go out there to watch a BMX event and I sit in the stands, what is there an entry fee?
Free entry, free spectator sport. And to participate, riders will have to have a 1-year USA BMX membership, which is $80 for the year. And then our regular race days are $17. The programming today that we're doing, the scholarship day, those 50 free memberships are provided. And that was the In Youth We Trust program took care of those. So that's giving riders that don't have a chance to get out there and do that, maybe they financially don't have a chance to be a part of that, that's covering their membership and their racing. So that's something pretty cool that we offered.
That is awesome. And of course, donations always accepted.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If someone really, really, really wants to ride and they don't have a bike, is there something about that you guys do?
We've got a fully stocked bike shop out there, courtesy of Kegel's Bike Shop. So the track has its own shop full of BMX bikes and helmets, Beginners League helmets. So yeah, those are there on race day, every practice day that are available.
So someone can come out without a bike and give it a try.
Yep.
And find out if it's for them. And if it is, hey, let's find out a way to buy you a bike.
Yeah. And we actually have free 1-day memberships that we offer as well. So 1 day, give it a try memberships.
Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome.
That is.
Well, we're looking forward to having you back out to be one of our celebrity judges for Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest, November 13th at Tabala. And we definitely want to keep promoting what you're doing out there at Rockford Bmx. So shoot us, keep us in the loop on stuff so we can spread the word and help you. We'll keep spreading the word on our Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff too.
Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Yeah. You have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for coming on with us today.
All right. We'll see you soon.
There he goes. Garret Rapp from Rock.
815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815.
I'm hitting buttons all over, Tom. I'm hitting buttons.
I was going to say, are we done? Do I got?
No.
We're all done.
Sorry about that. We need to do our big number of the week. Our big number the current race to 10 has Greg in the lead by a score of 3-2. And
I sent it to you, right? I sent mine. Yeah,
you did. Our big number this week is 125 billion. The answer is it's sunflower or software. You gave me your guess, and I have to look there to see who gets the point and change the score on the screen. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Have you heard of Alex Babbage in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
I've heard of Fort Wayne, Indiana, but that's it.
Well, Alex is a gardener, and he's been working on the world's tallest sunflower. This week, the world's tallest sunflower clocked in at what height, Tom? Can you guess how high this sunflower has gotten so far this year?
125 billion inches.
32 feet 5 inches. That's taller than the average telephone pole, my man. You're getting the point. He's named his flower Clover. It's about 4.5 times taller than Andre the Giant. It's still growing. It's not done growing. Sunflowers will grow through the summer, and we still got summer left. So this thing might reach 35 to 40 feet.
Wow.
Fort Wayne, Indiana, Alex Babbage, way to go. America Online, the dial-up service launched in 1991. In the year 2000, it was the United States' biggest internet provider and had a valuation of $125 billion. Today, it's owned by a company called Apollo Global Management, and they have decided to shut it down. After 34 years, AOL, America Online dial-up internet service is shutting down. It routinely evaluates products, decided to discontinue dial-up internet service. So on September 30th, next month, you will no longer be able to. It'll be done.
Yeah, that was so weird. And then all of a sudden it wouldn't go, and then you'd have to do it again. It took you 10 minutes to get online. It drove me nuts.
Did you have an American Online AOL account?
I did. In fact, you would get free internet for a while because you get the disc in the mail.
Right.
And then you just keep re-upping or whatever. And Tom at AOL. What's that?
They went crazy with those discs. We all got
Oh
them.
my goodness! People used to put them on their walls. They'd get enough of them, and they'd make an entire wall full of AOL discs.
Kids don't know this. We got one in the mail like every month for like a couple years.
Yeah. You know what my son and I used to do? Okay, this is before I fixed my basement up. I have a finished basement now. We would go to, I used to homeschool him. And sometimes my son, he's a smart kid, very ADD like me. So I knew how to handle his ADD. I knew when he was shutting down, when he was done for the day, we were done. All right. So I say, all right, buddy, let's go downstairs. Let's go get out the BB gun. I bought him a BB gun because he threw a touchdown pass in football. I promised him a BB gun. My wife wasn't real happy about it, but anyway, I would hold out the thing. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I definitely not Father of the Year candidate here, but I'd hold it out. I'd hold it out there like this, and we destroyed about 20 of them, 30 of them.
We still have a target in our basement that we used to shoot with our BB guns. So yeah, we did that in our basement too. That was fun.
And for the record, my son turned out to be pretty smart. It all worked. It all worked. It was good. Not probably none of my doing, but he's just a bright kid. He's a good kid.
I never had an AOL account. We did have Web TV. We did use Web TV for a few years, and that was kind of interesting. But it was so slow. And I'm sitting in front of I'm sitting in front of two screens right now, where I'm using one service for my Restream that you and I are on right now, and I'm using my Google Chrome for all my tabs of my information that I'm doing for the show. So,
and you have the ability you have a mesh together because that's how you can put it onto the other one, right?
Well, when I share screen, I'm just sharing the screen of my Google Chrome browser. So that's all that's all about. So anyway, I do have a few shout outs I want to get to before we start to talk about sports. The Starlight Theater season officially ended last night with the Stars of Starlight show. And for those that did not come last night, you missed it. You missed it. Last night's show, Tom, was the only show all season that the roof opened.
Oh, wow.
The roof was being worked on in the spring, and they didn't quite get finished what needed to get finished before the season started, so they couldn't open it safely. So it stayed closed all summer until last night. They got
fortunately you get the breeze that goes through. It's not like an enclosed theater.
Yeah, it's open air. It's still open air, but there were some people that thought if we opened the roof it would have been cooler, and maybe that's true, maybe not, I don't know, but they were like, that's why it's so hot. If you'd opened the roof it'd have been, yeah, but we can't open the roof. It's not safe. It's not finished yet. There was damage that they were working on, and they finally got it done, or at least done enough that they could open the roof last night. So one time in the 2025 season, the roof did open at Starlight Theater, and the theater season is officially done. Although coming up, they'll have their Shakespeare. They build a stage off to the east of the Starlight Theater area, and they do an outdoor open air theater for Shakespeare in the fall. So that's coming up. I've already got to shout out the Brewers. As I mentioned last Sunday, I was able to take my dad, my stepmom, and my wife out to the Brewers game to watch that incredible game with a walk-off home run in the 9th inning. That was win number 9. And then the Pirates, they played the Pirates, and they swept the Pirates. They just won again last night. They beat the Reds last night barely, so they're up to 13 wins in a row, just on fire.
Well, and 2 weeks ago they had 12 in a row, lost one, and then came back and started winning again.
They got to 11. They didn't get the 12th one, right?
Okay, they got to 11. All right.
Because in Milwaukee, in the Milwaukee area, there's a restaurant called George Webb, and this has been since I was a kid. This was since back in the 80s. George Webb has had this thing for years where if the Brewers win 12 in a row, they do free hamburgers.
Oh,
everybody gets a free hamburger. So that's always been a thing, and it's only happened like twice. I think 87 and 2007 or something like that. So it's only really like happened twice where they've gotten 12 wins. The longest winning streak in Brewers history is 13 wins. So if they win again today, they're going to have a new record for the Brewers. But yeah, so coming up this Wednesday It's going to be free hamburger day at all George Webb locations around Milwaukee.
Wow.
Obviously, I'm not standing in line for 3 hours to get a free burger, but
No, but just the experience of it might be worth it. But
it'll be
you're going to be hungry. You're going to end up buying two. You're still going to pay for one.
Exactly. So kudos to what they're doing. Happy birthday to my daughter-in-law, Britney. She celebrated her big birthday this last week. My wife, Christy's birthday's today. We started the show wishing her a happy birthday. Love you, babe. Rock River Valley Blood Center. Want to give kudos to them for their 815 day blood drive, and partnering with InCrowd 815 on that. Hopefully we had a goal of I think 100 and I think it was the goal was like 135 donations. I haven't heard if we got anywhere near that. But the need for blood is still very high. So if you are ready, willing, and able, please get down to the blood center and help renew the blood supply. It's an ongoing thing and they always need help. So donate if you can. The Northern Illinois Food Bank Neighborhood Market, as you were talking about there in the old Kmart building on Sandy Hollow.
Yeah.
Our next Rockford group that I'm a part of had a volunteer day there this last Thursday. So we spent a few hours helping out during their open hours of the food bank. And when we got there, there was a lot of people. There's a lot of need. And it was a packed market. They have a system where you can go once a week and they're open Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're in need, you can go down there at the neighborhood market. They'll put your information in the system, and once a week you can go through and get bread, cereal, flour, some proteins. They got a lot of different proteins to choose from, and they got it set up so it's like a store, so that you're going and you're shopping, but you're able to take, one thing from this section, two things from that section, one thing from this section. So it's all labeled that says how much you can take and take home with you. So kudos to what they're doing. They have a great system, a great setup over there with the Northern Illinois Food Bank and the neighborhood market down on Sandy Hollow. And then tomorrow's National Nonprofit Day. I'm guessing that's always every year on August 17th. I don't know why they'd have it on a Sunday, but I think it's just the 17th every year. So National Nonprofit Day, support your favorite not-for-profit, not just at the end of the year with a tax-deductible donation, all year long. The best way you can support your favorite not-for-profit is by committing to and giving a monthly donation, whatever that might be, whatever that looks like for you. After years of working in the not-for-profit sector, I can tell you that their ability to budget for the following year is greatly dependent not on the big gifts that show up at the end of the year every year, but those monthly gifts that come in month after month after month. So.
Right, because that's the consistency. And here's the thing: we all will. I don't go to Starbucks, but with no for no reason other than the fact that I'll just make coffee at home. Starbucks is a fine organization, great coffee, whatever. A little expensive for my taste, but I'm not a coffee connoisseur. But if you go to Starbucks every single day, eliminate one day and take that $5 and go ahead and donate it, and do it out of a monthly draft, out of your check or a weekly, whatever, $5 a month. That's $60 a year. And if 1,000 people do $60 a year, that's $60,000.
Yeah. And that's
and I don't necessarily mean for the food bank. It could be for any non-for-profit.
Every little bit helps.
That kind of stuff right there is what makes the big difference. You are correct about that.
So kudos to them and all that, all the not-for-profits. We're up to, I gotta refresh my list, Tom, but I think we're up to like 86 or 87 now not-for-profits that we've had on the podcast, with a goal of having all 197 registered not-for-profits in the 815 to be on the show at least once. We'd love to hear their story, why they started what they started, and what they do for the community. So if you're involved with a not-for-profit, especially one that hasn't been on the podcast yet, we want to be connected. So help us. If you'll find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the places. And we would love to connect with you like we did when I met Garret the first time, and he said it was with Rockford Bmx. I had no clue that Rockford Bmx was a not-for-profit.
Yeah,
I didn't. I just same as like the Rock River Valley Blood Center. I didn't realize for a long time that it was a not-for-profit. It is. And we need to support those that are supporting our community and making us a better place to live and work and play. So that takes care of all the business stuff, other than next week we're going to be meeting Sarah Richardson. She's a grant fund development manager over at Midway Village Museum. And
cool.
Yeah, Sarah does that not just for Midway Village Museum, but also as like an independent contractor for other not-for-profits. So we're going to talk to her about how she can help the not-for-profit sector in general in the 815, helping you with like grant writing and stuff like that. That's a important thing, very important thing, especially in these days with the changing stuff that's going on with federal funding. We need to know where the money is going to come from. And popular or unpopular thing to say, I've always been one to say that I would rather our not-for-profit organizations be funded locally than nationally. I think it makes a lot more sense to have things funded where they are. I would rather have the federal government spending its time and money on nationwide concerns like security of the country and enforcing contracts and securing the country and that sort of thing, and not doing other small local things. But anyway, that might be an unpopular opinion for some. That's okay. It's an opinion. So next week we're going to talk with Sarah about that. And yeah, there you go. That's a show. And
all right.
The Packers did not look good last weekend. I didn't watch any of it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
All right. So if you don't mind, can we talk a little baseball first? Then switch to the Packers. I don't know how much time you want to devote to this, but I want to shout out to your Brewers. In the last 70 games, they're 52-18. That is according to StatMuse. But I've tried this 3 or 4 different times. They keep giving me different numbers. Anyway, last 70 games, 52-18.
Unreal.
I can't wrap my head around that.
They got blown out the first 4 games of the season, right? And after that, I was kind of like, okay, whatever.
Here's the funny thing about Craig Counsell. Everybody thought, oh my God, the Cubs with the nucleus they have, with the base, the young players, the talent, this and that, good pitching, and of course you lost Justin Steele and you lost I can't remember the other guy's name, Latino guy, Assad. I think it was Assad. But anyway, they had some really good pitching and all that. Cubs are still 15 games over 500. It might be 14 now, but they're still in the wild card hunt. They're still like second for the wild card. Dodgers are first. All they need is a good 10 or 12 game stretch where they win 8 of 10, 10 of 12, and they're right back in the mix. And I don't think the division is an issue now. I think the Brewers, I keep expecting the Brewers to reality to hit, the glass slipper to come off, or midnight turn into a pumpkin, whatever. I keep expecting that to happen, but I think they're very well coached, and I'm starting to think that the Cubs grabbed the wrong Brewer coach.
My dad said that too. He said, culture is a big thing, and apparently Pat Murphy was the culture guy. Craig Counsell was the brains behind a lot of the stuff, but culture trumps brains in a lot of situations.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does, especially with baseball, because baseball is a from the gut type of thing. Hey, listen, I know that Bob Smith here, he's not a good bunter, but you know what? He just has to lay it down, and we get him from first and second to second and third with only one out.
And Andrew Vaughn did that 2 days ago or 3 days. Andrew Vaughn, the power guy, the first baseman.
Yeah.
Who they got from the White Sox. He's been hitting dingers, and he goes up there and bunts a run in. It's like,
yeah, I know. That's how you manufacture runs. That's what Craig Counsell can't do. He can't manufacture runs. If the Cubs don't get 8 home runs in a game, they're striking out 12 times. It's painful to watch. It is painful to watch. The way Craig Counsell manages the ball game. He had Matthew Boyd pitching an absolute gem. 7 innings, 0 runs. This is against Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. He'd given up 2 hits to that point, 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. He's 82, 83 pitches, something like that. And he goes out in the 8th inning, he sends out Ryan Presley. Ryan Presley gives an ugly walk to the first batter, a sharp single up the middle that almost took Presley's glove off. On the second thing, first and second, nobody out. The third batter, a shot right up the middle that Nico Horner, who was playing short that day, grabbed, but couldn't do anything with it. He caught it. It was 1 out. So now, whatever. The next batter gets a single. Now it's 3-1. The next batter, Hendrickson, their power hitter, boom, home run. Cubs lost 4-3. Those are on Craig Counsell. He is so worried about sabermetrics. He's so worried about pitch counts. He's so worried about everything that I want him gone. I want him gone. He has proven to me that he doesn't know how to manage baseball. He may know how to manage players, but but maybe not even that. His lineups are all over the place. He's got Ian Happ batting 4th. He's got Ian Happ batting 7th. Ian Happ, I can't stand. He's a great outfielder, but a horrible, horrible hitter. He'll get your home runs. He'll get you 17, 18, 19, 20 home runs. A lot of those are like Sammy Sosa used to do. 8th inning, Cubs are up 8-2. Sammy cracks a 3-run homer. We win 11-2. Big deal. Didn't need it. We needed the timely hit when it was 3-2. We're losing, and we needed a timely hit to tie the ball game in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's what we need. What does Ian Happ do with a runner on second? He walks. All that does is set up a force at any base. We didn't really need the walk, Ian. We needed you to hit the ball. We needed a base hit, or we needed a home run or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm still rooting for my Cubbies, of course, but I don't hate the Brewers. I will be rooting for the Brewers if, in fact, Cubs can't make it.
And that's what the Brewers just keep doing. They just keep getting these hits. They just keep moving base runners to the next station over and over and over.
Yes, again. Because they're manufacturing runs. They're not afraid to have Andrew Vaughn bunt. That's unheard of. But guess what? It won him a ball game.
Yeah. Very, very exciting time to be a Brewers fan. Packers, you said Packers play today, right? They're in Indianapolis, I think.
They're in Indianapolis. They play at noon.
So there'll be a preseason game that some people will watch and others will not.
I am going to watch it. I am definitely going to watch it because I want to know.
Watch a little.
What's that?
I might have time to watch it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm going to watch it. I'm absolutely going to watch it. So.
That. My list is taken care of, buddy. I think we've covered everything. I just, again, quick reminder that your help is greatly appreciated when you connect us with other local area not-for-profits that have not been on the podcast yet. We're still working on getting some people on there. Oh, it was announced too. Save the date. Our annual InCrowd 815 networking group Christmas party and fundraiser will happen on Wednesday, December 3rd. 2025 at the Ross Pearson VFW. That's on 7th Street in Rockford. This one is going to be a dinner ticketed event in support of Veterans Smile. We had Veterans Smile on the show 4th of July weekend, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. July 5th,
right.
The July 5th show. We're going to have a DJ, raffles, Sassy Mac Boys catering, and you can donate through vetssmile.org. We'll have a opportunity to buy dinner tickets on there shortly. You can buy tickets for $20 each or a table of 6 for $100. If you sponsor a table, you get your company logo on the table. And special thanks to Pauline and WLM and Associates Painting for heading up this fun events for Christmas. I know it's August. What are we talking about Christmas for? Save the date. That's why. Save the date. Wednesday, December 3rd. We'll be at Ross Pearson VFW. They got a good thing going there.
That's the night, right? At night?
At night, 5:30 to 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I will be doing trivia that night. So,
well, find a sub.
How about if I find a sub to go to the VFW thing for me?
Or come for the first 45 minutes and then go run and do your trivia thing. Just pop in and say hello. You could do that too. The other save the date thing is, of course, the Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest coming up on November 13th, a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. We'll be at Tabala Event Center for this event this time. and a $5,000 grand prize courtesy of Medicare 411 to the winning team's chosen not-for-profit. We'll have 12 teams. Each team will have one business and one not-for-profit sponsoring the table. The players can be anybody. You can put anybody on the team, but they'll have a place for up to 8 people per team to play in the contest. And we're going to do some fun little wrinkles with this contest. It's going to be a little different than the ones we've done in the past. More money to give away, though. That's the exciting part. Really excited. Really excited about that fun time coming up. Kudos to, how was your 815 day yesterday? Did you do anything? Did you do anything special for 815 day?
I took 8 15-minute naps.
8 15 minutes.
That's about it. I didn't. It's my dad's birthday. May he rest in peace. He died 8 years ago. I miss him. Other than that, no, I didn't do anything. I've been building a fence in my. To be honest with you, I didn't even think about it being 815 day. Don't care. Don't care.
Yeah, I pretty much worked. I didn't honestly take advantage of any of the real specials going on around town. But there was a lot of really cool ones, a lot of really fun ones. Really had fun watching everybody like on Instagram and stuff, promoting all the stuff and Facebook, all the different 815 opportunities out and about. So kudos to everybody for celebrating 815 day. And of course, remember, my friends, you change the world when you help one person. So be a blessing today, every day for this next week. And we'll meet you back here next week for another In Crowd 815 podcast. All right. Sound good? All right, buddy. Thank you, Tom.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815